Angling participation, politics, recruitment, all of these things are really important to our sport, and of course there's something that somebody should do something about. But who is that somebody? Well, today I'm up in Birmingham at Barston Lakes for the Future Angling Conference, where exactly those issues are going to be discussed.
So today is just one of a sequence of events and consultations that are going on as part of the development of a national angling strategy. And the idea of that is to really sort of set out a clear picture of how we're going to move forward, how we're going to work together as a community. This strategy is really important for the future of angling, because if we are all pulling in different directions, we'll never achieve anything because we'll be countering each other out. We really need to be pulling in the same direction to clear objectives, and we all know what page we're on, and we're all on the same page, and working in collaboration and partnership to make things happen. We heard some fantastic stories this morning from people who had made those partnerships work by working with the Angling Trust, getting money from the Angling Improvement Fund, getting volunteers from their clubs, getting support from the private sector. And they brought all those ingredients together and made a fantastic fishery, which is now bringing lots more people back to angling, and their junior membership is soaring. So this can be done, but what we need to do is to frame that in a strategy that works for everyone.
There's been a little bit of press recently about the fact that rod licence numbers are dropping and participation is falling. And this is quite an interesting time in fishing, because whilst in previous times we've had a benchmark, i.e. you could buy your rod licence at the same time every year and it runs for a year, now that has changed. And there's also been another change with the 3-rod licence rule for carp anglers and specimen anglers too. So although figures are showing a fall this year, that was really expected, because it was going to. You know, previously we knew that carp anglers bought 2 licences, now they only need to buy 1. So if there's 150,000 carp anglers that used to buy 2 licences, they now only need to buy 1. That's automatically 150,000 potentially less anglers that are seen on the survey results. But it's not actually true, because obviously it's a skew of those figures. What we actually need to do is we need to get bums on seats, or should we say boxes on the bank. Let's get more and more people out there fishing, but whose responsibility is that?
Well, there's quite a lot going on, especially on our canal network. We're running a programme called Let's Fish. So far this year we've run about 150 events. Now they're for juniors, but they're also for adults. So we invite people to come along for a 30-minute taster session. They haven't got to bring anything other than themselves, so all the bait's provided, and it's basically undertaken by qualified licensed coaches, so everybody's safe in terms of safeguarding. And basically we teach people to catch their first fish. It's for people of all ages. We get kids as young as 4. We've had people come along in their 70s and that have, haven't fished since they were teenagers. And we're finding that we're getting more mums than dads, and we're getting slightly more girls than boys, which was somewhat of a surprise to us. They seem to enjoy it at least as much, if not more. In fact, I think the girls are probably slightly better anglers as kids, because they will listen more to the coaches. The fantastic thing about the canal network in the UK is that over 8 million people actually live within 1,000 metres of a canal. So that's your walking distance. And about 25 million people live within 5 miles of a canal. And there are canals in urban areas, in London, in Leicester and Coventry and Birmingham, and there are canals in rural areas as well. So there's pretty much a canal somewhere near you, everywhere in the country.
Now, the strategy is really, really important, and a lot of government funding goes back in to angling through rod licence sales. But the question is, where should that money be spent? Where should it be put to best effect? Because obviously, if we don't get it right, the sport will potentially decline for the future. Now, every 5 years, there's something called a national angling strategy, and that involves a national angling survey. And basically that gives us the opportunity of giving information back to the government about what we think should be included in the strategy, and it also helps the government decide where they're going to spend their money.
The strategy will be the plan for how angling can be developed over the next 5 years. So it will look at what it needs to achieve in terms of increased numbers, what benefits it can deliver, and that's not just benefits to people who take part, but how angling can benefit society in terms of health and well-being, sports participation, physical activity, and economic and other social benefits that angling can deliver. Because angling has a lot to offer, and it's about capturing that and developing angling so it delivers that. So it's a value to people outside of angling as well as inside.
So that leaves us with the big question, where are we going to go in the future? Let's go back, though, to that $1 million question. Whose responsibility is this? It's not anybody's responsibility, it's everybody's responsibility. The trade, the governing bodies, the Environment Agency, the clubs, the organisations, and of course us too. If we take more people fishing, they'll get to see how good it is. So let me leave you with this point. Just have a think now about what you would do to get more people going fishing more often.